So welcome everybody, both present and listening via recording. So as a quick kickoff, I'd like to introduce you to your speakers. So as you've already heard, you've got me, so Chris Allport, with a background in additive manufacturing. So that's commonly referred to as industrial 3D printing. I've experienced actually some of the issues that the solutions talked about in today's session would have actually addressed. And then also joining me today from the power of video recording, we've got Josh Newham. So Josh is a developer at Fluid and is an integral member of our Power BI, Powerapps, and Power Automate team. So in these videos, Josh will be showing off the power of these solutions using real-life anonymized data. So good morning and welcome to Made in Yorkshire Masterclass session. So digital solutions for manufacturers. So this session is for SME leaders who want to know how they can use technology to work smarter and grow faster in 2022. Today we'll be discussing some digital quick wins, which is a fresh perspective for digital transformation that all SMEs should know about. Using a real-world case study, we'll be learning about the quick win approach to business improvements which use cloud technologies to incrementally enhance what you have already, rather than replace everything with a big bang system implementation. So today's talk will be around the 35 minutes, and then we'll open it up at the end for Q&A. But if you have any questions you want to drop in the chat before then, please do so. So to kick off, a webinar hosted by the Confederation of British Industry, mentioned in the introductory speech by the CBI Director, General Caroline Fairbairn, and repeated in many of the keynote speeches, was digital, and the phrase a digital first mindset. It was great to hear that digital was right up there in terms of post-COVID considerations for business leaders. I think it's also fair to say that most businesses are on their digital journey, and if they weren't before, the first and second lockdown has certainly accelerated the urgency. So moving to remote working, the adoption of Teams and Zoom was an obvious and vital step. Listening to the key speakers, we wondered how obvious are the next digital steps for businesses. Certainly there's a lot of opportunity, but there's also constraints. The speakers talked in terms of high-tech economy skill shortages, furlough perpetuating the skills needed before, but not needed going forward, and also that other digital steps are obvious, like cloud good and legacy bad. And these statements sound great at a national conference and broadly resonate. But I really don't think it's that simple on the ground for SMEs to be able to consider what's actually right for them. For me, it's a blend that you're looking for. There can be value in existing ways as much as there is opportunity in new. And striking that right balance will depend largely on the individual circumstances where people, processes, and then technology are considered, and preferably in that order. In this series, we'll be looking at not only the opportunity that is presented with digital, but also the way in which we can balance that with existing value and chart a successful journey of digital adoption. I'm really looking forward as well to seeing the demos that Josh has shared to help us through Power BI, robotic process automation, and low code. So let's give you the quick case study, the Whitby case study. What you can see on the slide here is one screen from an interactive Power BI dashboard, giving insights into products sold at specific locations, cost, and margins. I'll point out that the numbers have been altered for confidentiality reasons and the product names have been changed. So who are Whitby Seafoods? Whitby is a rapidly expanding food manufacturer that produces seafood for major supermarkets and other sectors. They found that they were outgrowing their IT infrastructure and had frustrations with spreadsheets crashing and different versions of the truth being distributed via email. But what was the actual problem? So static reporting from their eFax ERP system was tedious and required a lot of external manipulation in Excel before it could be used to gain valuable business insights. So the sales and supply team needed to manipulate up-to-date data without running multiple reports manually and bringing data into large spreadsheets. The solution was Power BI. Two initial reports were created, one for the sales team that could be filtered down and shared with customers to show their ordering trends and KPIs, and one that allowed the sales and management teams to look at their sales in an SPC control chart to see their key metrics in more detail and annotate key points to explain changes. After establishing the Power BI in the business, we embarked on a Centre of Excellence project to allow Whitby to become self-sufficient in developing and releasing reports. We trained a business analyst in Power BI and then built stock transaction reports with her, answering questions and then solving problems collaboratively. The results: it brought accurate data to more individuals in the company. It created a single source of the truth for sales and supply chain teams. It replicated their control charts from Windchart in Power BI, saving thousands of pounds per year. And it reduced reliance on manual processes and emailing spreadsheets for reporting. It improved efficiency within both teams. The stock transaction report saved an entire morning per week of manually running reports and calculating variances. And we trained up a Power BI champion in the business to allow them to create future reports, allowing the use of Power BI to flourish within Whitby. So let's move on to Power BI, Power Automate, and Powerapps. First of all, I'd like to highlight that we are not affiliated to Microsoft in any way. We do not make any commission from talking about these products. For us, they're just bloody cool and a great starting point for businesses to get rapid quality of life, efficiency, and strategical gains. I'll start with the Power Stack. So the technology stack Power Platform. Microsoft Power Platform consists of Power BI, Power Automate, and Powerapps, which together help your business analyze data, automate manual processes, and build bespoke solutions quickly. There's lots of options, but we like Power Platforms for the following reasons. So everyone with Office 365 already has access. There's no upfront costs, only pay per user. It works with what you already have, and it's low risk. So incremental rollout, there's skills available in the market, and Microsoft are in it for the long run. And the really cool thing is they all link up to make really powerful solutions. We'll be demonstrating the use case of those later on. So Power BI. Sometimes the issue isn't lack of data, but rather a lack of useful information. Businesses often have tons of data in various systems and spreadsheets, but turning that data into meaningful insights is laborious. Power BI is a cloud-based business intelligence solution that allows you to turn all the data in your business into insights that improve efficiency and increase revenue. Power BI sits above existing systems and spreadsheets as a reporting layer that automatically pulls in the underlying data. Manual effort is then reduced and automated. So once data is automatically extracted from source systems and transformed with the necessary logic, meaning you no longer have to do the heavy lifting. Everyone gets the data they need. So the data is pulled into personalized reports, built to suit the visual preferences, KPIs and metrics that are important to you. So each director and member gets the insights they need in the format they want. It's self-service. So with minimal training, stakeholders can easily create their own reports with drag and drop interface and effortlessly slice, query, and drill down through this data to get a deeper dive into measures. It's shareable and accessible on any device, so common reports can be accessed by the whole team easily and on the go. And finally, it's low risk. It works with existing systems, rollouts can be incremental, and licenses are only £7.50. Let me now pass you over to a recording of Josh to giving a whistle-stop tour on some of the many great cases of Power BI. Please note that the data again has been manipulated and changed for data protection.
Hi, so I'm Josh. I'm a developer at Fluid. I'm just today going to show you sort of the capabilities of this tool called Power BI. So Power BI is basically like the next step up from Excel reports, the next logical step for Excel reports. It can handle a lot more data, it's a lot faster, it's a lot prettier, and it's just nicer to use in general. So it's a reporting tool, and it's kind of the future of reporting, I think, where everything's interactive, and the whole purpose of it and reporting in general really is to find insights, to gain insights from your information. It's all well and good having a massive spreadsheet of machine information, but if you don't know what to do with it, you can't extract any information, useful, actionable information from it, it's pointless really. It's more data and not information. So that's kind of the point of Power BI. I put together a quick demo of what it kind of can do and some ideas of how it works for manufacturing. So I'll just show that. This is based on some work we've done for a client. It's anonymized, but it's the kind of thing that is possible. It's the art of the possible. It's very tailored to what all of this can change. Everything you see, fields can change, KPIs can change, but the general idea remains the same. So this is like the front page, like a dashboard view, has your main information that you're interested in. And this actually was sort of designed to be on the factory floor on a big TV, because this feeds in live this information from an app that I'll show you on another demo that they fill in. So the idea was workers on the factory floor could just sort of see their daily progress on this screen that refreshed sort of in real time. So that's the idea behind this page. It gives you sort of KPIs like how much scrap you've produced or wastage, and OEE, which is your efficiency, operating efficiency. So it's like the total you have produced versus or divided by the total potential that you could produce in this case. So those what this customer was interested in. So they just wanted some nice pie charts to show the breakdown of those KPIs by machine. And yeah, that's what this page is. Perfect for managers, very like sort of high level view. You take it into meetings. You can make this whole thing a PowerPoint as well if you need for meetings. So it's very nice and useful. And then this is over all time and for all products, but in here I can slice it any way I want. So I can filter it, say I only want this month. That's done. All of that is this month's numbers now. Then got A and B products, A-rated products. Filter it down to there, and I can filter it all the way down to individual lines or people even. Billy Thomas, who hasn't done anything in, must have been on holiday. But yeah, that's the idea of this. And this filter pane is on every page, and it sort of synchronizes. So you set them in one place, and it's just done, and it's nice and quick. There's no rerunning reports or anything. It's all done in real time. So that's this page. Quite a cool feature of Power BI is that if not all of these numbers are relevant to you, which they probably won't be, you can pin them to your own dashboard. So each person can have a dashboard or as many as they want. So I can make one Josh's dashboard, and I can pin, say I'm only interested in scrap, I can pin these two scrap ones, and I can go throughout the report or any report and pin anything I want to this dashboard, and I'll eventually end up with a collection of graphs and figures that are sort of interesting to me rather than having to root for a report. I've got quite a nice focused view here, so that's a nice little feature. And then also very good for querying numbers and talking to people. You could just start a conversation about anything that you see in Power BI. If you see some numbers that aren't quite right and you want to ask someone about them, just click on that, add a comment, and you can at anyone. Could at Will Newham, for example, and just say these numbers don't look right, and it would send them an email and get them straight into this graph. There's no sending spreadsheets across or anything like that. It's all just contained within Power BI, and everyone can see them. So then people aren't. There's like one source of the information. Somebody look at this number. Yeah, so that's that, and then we'll sort of go on to some more pages now, a bit more of a detailed breakdown. So, for example, OEE, let me close my comments. This is more of a daily graph, and you can see which days immediately fall below, which are acceptable and which are acceptable and which are exceptional, like really good days. But the main thing you obviously want to do is get to the bottom of why you've got poor performance, and you can identify patterns here, but you need to understand why. You need to get the insight from your information. So in Power BI, it's telling you there, you can right click on any data point and drill through and just try and figure out why on this day we've got such a low OEE. So I can do that, go to this lovely breakdown tree, and my OEE, I can see I'm minus 134,000 meters over what I should have made. On these lines, I actually produced more than I needed, but on these ones, line 4, I had a massive decrease. And yeah, this was a massive plummet, and I can drill down into the individual product that was on that line at the time. The shift, you just click it all the way down onto workers, drill down in that detail, and this is all just generated for you. So that's quite useful to just get insight into your information, a nice visual way, breaking it down. I've got quite a few of these in this report because I just think it's perfect for manufacturing these breakdown trees. A lot of people make them manually in Excel anyway, and it just takes ages. So this is a real time saver, and it explains, okay, that for this day, this basin was the main reason why we had such a shortfall. So that's that. And we've got a similar thing for scrap. So this is like, why am I not as efficient as I could be? This is more like, okay, where are my wastages coming from? And this is quite an interesting idea. So this is a bit more predictive. You can sort of see the spikes. And ideally, I've said for this example, we should shut down one standard deviation above the average, but that's obviously customizable. So you can sort of see when things are on the rise, you can try and sort out a problem before it leads to a machine having to be shut down. So that's kind of the idea with it. So the same thing applies here. For this big peak in scrap, I can have a look at a scrap breakdown and it'll explain, okay, most of this was on line 6. There's only one product running at the time. Most of it was on shift A. Most of it was because there wasn't an operator. So immediately I've explained why I've had such a scrap peak. It's because somebody wasn't there operating it. And that's the power of Power BI, really, being able to figure out why data points like that, quickly be able to figure out why that's 450 kilos rather than having to dig through like thousands or millions of rows of information. You just get it presented to you. So that's that. And then we've got another breakdown tree here. This more explains downtime as a whole rather than explaining your scrap or your efficiencies. Sort of why have I got so much downtime? So 21,000 minutes of downtime in this period up here. You can see the top machines that are causing it, top machines that are causing it, and then the reasons. So as we were on about earlier, there's quite a problem with this fictional factory where there's no operators, and most of the time for this machine, it's on the D shift and the A shift. So you'd want to have a look at this and the individual workers and just see if there's an underlying issue there. Why that this is happening, or why quality faults happening, whether quality faults happening more with certain people. It's all within your power, this kind of thing, to just click around and explore it yourself rather than having to do loads of pivot tables and sums and stuff. Finally, got meters per plant hour, which was sort of a bit of a bespoke calculation for this client. Wanted to see how basically what the utilization and output of the factory was. So nice custom calculation we put in for them. And then we've got tabular versions of all these things. So tabular scrap is each scrap entry. And the reason we give these, obviously a lot of people like seeing the data in tables, but you can just export it straight to Excel and open it up and do any further analysis in an environment that you're comfortable in. So it's not replacing Excel. It's just there's one source of information now, which is Power BI.
So thanks, Josh. Great piece of software there. So now let's move on to robotic process automation. So RPA refers to software that can be easily programmed to automate manual back office processes in order to save businesses precious time and money. The automated software is known as a bot, and bots are taught by humans to do any transactional task that involves structured data and clearly defined rules. Basically, any manual process that involves moving data from one source to another non-integrated source can be automated by a bot. There are likely dozens of critical but mundane processes that your business depend on that the bot could do. So for example, payroll, sales and order processing, and data ERP entries. The sum total of time spent across all these processes can add up to thousands every month. Once the bot is taught how to do the process in question, it can do it forevermore, meaning that the human is lifted up the value chain to focus on more higher value adding activities. This is not only great for your efficiency, but great for your people too, as they can then start focusing on more stimulating and value generating tasks. Return on investment is practically guaranteed. The cost of the tool will vary, but with a bit of analysis, it isn't hard to quickly find a process where you will get a return on investment, especially when the likes of Power Automate start at just £31 per month per user. And then actually trying to tie this back to a real world example. A manufacturer we know used RPA within payroll, which then allowed their junior clerk who wanted to be in HR the ability to do so, because the bot was then actually doing her data entry work. This allowed her to then also become much happier as she was getting the career development she wanted, as well as a business getting much more value out of her as an employee. So a great bit of a use case there. We have just got a quick demo on RPA. I do say it's not as long as the Power BI one, so I'll just pop through to that one now.
Hello, I'm going to explain to you the benefit of using Powerapps to create a workplace robotic process automation, also referred to as an RPA. Powerapps is a cloud-based service that enables users to automate processes and actions that will normally be carried out manually, saving a business time and effort. To set for context for this demo, as an employee, I work for a car insurance company, and every day my colleague sends me a spreadsheet containing a list of car reg numbers. For every car registration passed to me, it's my job to manually go into the DVLA website, verify some details about each car, fill in the spreadsheet, and send it back. So what I've got here is a simple Excel spreadsheet, which is stored on my local drive. This could be also stored on a network drive or on a SharePoint location. So if I open up the spreadsheet, what I've got is a car registration number and also the details which my colleague wants to send back. So make, field type, car color is a text. So what I would do is go to the DVLA website, search for my car registration number, and check the details it's required. So we want the make, field type, it's a text, and a color. So I would take that information, enter it into the spreadsheet, and repeat for how many records it requires. So it could be 1, it could be 100. Each time-consuming process. So what Microsoft Power Automate allows you to do is create a workflow which allows you to automate simple tasks. So if I import Power Automate, there's quite a few options. First of all, there's like a list of templates. So Microsoft's already hard-coded a set of templates which it thinks people might require. So there's all different types of ones. So you could send manager approval for a file, send a notification my location. But what we're interested in is the actual UI flows. So basically the UI flows are user interface flows. Microsoft allows you 2 different options. One's a Windows recorder, which allows you to create desktop workflows. So this might be entering information from a spreadsheet into a legacy system. Or the other one is Selenium, which allows you to record website actions. So that's what I'm going to look at first. So quick example, I'm just going to repeat my test. I'm going to use Selenium to record it. So what I want to do is do a quick DVL check. I want to start from that website. And what it's going to do is when I hit record, it's going to open up a website and it's going to record all my actions. So reg from before, yes, continue, and then I can record certain information. So Selenium, store, text, and then end my item, and then what I can do is I can replay my test. So that's mimicking everything I've done. And it's a simple record. So I could be recording a whole host of actions. I close this down. I've already saved the one I've done earlier. So I've called it DVLA. And what you can do is you can embed your user interface flows into workflows. So I've created a DVLA read from worksheet. And what this flow does is it looks for my car reg document. reads the rows in that Excel spreadsheet, and for every row, it runs my Selenium recording, which will open up the DVLO website, record the information I want. Once I've got the information, what I'll do is it will take the items I've stored and fill up the spreadsheet in. So if I run my flow from start to finish, let's close this one down so we can see it. So run a flow. What will happen is once it kicks in, it will repeat my test for every item in that spreadsheet. Reads in the car reg. Looping through down, I'm recording the information I need, and that's my test done. So if I open up my flow, so what I want to do is for every record to say I want to update the row, I also send an email out. So if I open up my email, it's just ran now. So car reg is that, BMW, petrol, black, and it's taxed. And if I open up my car reg document, you can see it's just been updated. And the details filled in.
That's a great little demo there. Just explaining just a really quick, simple use case. So Powerapps. So has your business ever had the situation where you wanted a digital solution to a problem, but an off-the-shelf system was far too expensive or feature-rich? Perhaps you looked at building something bespoke, but that would require, the maintenance from the developer who made it, and it would take a very long time. So Powerapps exists for situations just like this. Powerapps is known as a low-code development platform. And without getting too technical, a low-code platform is essentially a toolkit that developers can use to develop faster. This is because much of the time-consuming and manual handwritten code they would normally have to do is instead automated by a visual modeler, and a library of commonly used components can be used again and again. The implications of this are massive. Now IT teams can develop custom solutions that are perfect for the business's needs up to 10 times faster with 70% less resource. So the next time your business has an idea to improve operations with a digital solution, for example, digitizing a currently paper-based process, with low-code skills, you could feasibly have a solution in just a few weeks. We're also about to go into a demo in just a moment, which will demonstrate a simple use case involving a paper-based data capture. But this really only does scratch the surface. Companies are building complex solutions with this technology for all areas of their business, such as ops, sales, customer service, and HR. So before moving into the demo, again, I would just like to point out that all figures and names have been altered for data protection.
Hello again. So this is like the Powerapps part of the demo. So this is how we get the data into Power BI that you've just seen. This is how all of that works. And what we typically recommend, if you don't have sensors retrofitted or you don't have machines that are capable of automatically reporting data, then there's another approach, which is that we can have a form, a digital form that operators fill in instead of a paper form that then sends information about their shift to a database so it can be reported on. So instead of having paper forms, which people fill out every single shift, and then someone at the end of the month or whenever reporting is needed puts it into Excel or whatever, this is kind of taking out that middle person that puts it into Excel and just gets the operators to put it straight into a database so it can be used. And that's using Powerapps, which is basically a quick, cheap, fast way of making these forms that can interact with databases. So I'll show you ours, so you can get a bit of an idea. So this is what ours looks like. This is the front page. It's not very pretty, but the manufacturer we did this for wasn't really interested in the look. They just kind of wanted it to have their colours at work. So yeah, this is what it looks like. And there's a management screen. This is password protected, so operators can't get onto it. And this has sort of setup or configuration of lines and shifts and products that are used throughout the app. So they're all set up in the app here, nice and easily. So we can have a look at a product. It's got some information needed for calculations and product type. And then what the operators actually use, fill in, is a production sheet. So that's in here. This is a list of all the production sheets currently in the system, and the operator can search by a works order number to bring only works order 322, or by a product, or etc. Any kind of thing could be searched up here. But what the process is for them, they finish their shift and they add a production sheet for the machine, pulls through related information that's needed, they put in their name, the line they were working on, which shift they worked, works order number, and how much production was required that shift. So just say like 42,000 meters, and then the time to and from of the shift. So if I just start this shift, so we started it at 5, finished it at 11. It's saying you should have got 28,000 meters. Calculated that for 360 minutes, you should have produced 28,000 meters. Okay, so the operator puts that in, and it appears on this sheet, on this screen. So we can show that this is sorted by date. So there it is. And then the operator goes in and they put in how many meters they actually produce. So say they produced 27,000, they get the full thing done there. It says, right, okay, that means there must have been 22 minutes of lost time there. So they can then go in and add their lost time, so their scrap or whatever reason there was behind it not fully fulfilling the potential. So say they had a breakdown for 15 minutes with a block pipe, and they can optionally add when this breakdown happens, but it's actually used in the reporting at the moment. Could be. And then that gets added, and then if you have a look at the lost times down on 7 minutes, the idea is that you're required to get that to 0 to sort of explain where the time's gone. Okay, so now that's there. You can go back to our report immediately. The manager can have a look at the report, and this is what it looked like before. You can refresh, and immediately we'll see those extra 2,000 meters be accounted for there. So this is real time, this report. You can click around, and in real time, it'll get you the latest information. So that's very useful, and this could be on a screen in the factory floor, like I've said, showing people in real time what the production is and sort of how things are going. You know, maybe like a leaderboard of the top operators, things like that.
So thanks, Josh. So if you found this webinar useful, we have loads of other webinars on our website that you might want to take a look at. So just follow the link on the screen to access tons of knowledge at the touch of a button. And while you're there, another part of our site that might interest you is our catalogue of downloadable content, helping you get underway with your digital transformation journey. With the likes of the self-serve fluid digital maturity review, you'll be able to then analyze where your business currently stands with a simple 1 to 5 scoring metrics. So that's the end of the talk, and I hope you guys found it useful. We will be hosting another masterclass in just a few months' time, covering some different areas of digital transformation that can help SME manufacturing businesses. So please do keep your eye out for that on the events page for Made in Yorkshire, and be sure to follow us on LinkedIn and Twitter via Fluid IT Consulting. Here as well, we have also just shared a blog about the difference between digitization, digitalization, and digital transformation. The blog is then tailored also to manufacturers, so I'd really recommend giving it a read. So have we got any questions? Or I do have a couple of common ones that have been asked, if you'd like me to just quickly give a whistle stop on those.
Chris, hi, Mark. I think that was a really good presentation, and thanks for that. And yeah, Power BI is a product that I am familiar with, but it was more for Neil's benefit today, just to give him an insight of what's out there and what's off the shelf. And the question I've got that probably Neil will ask, so I'll ask on his behalf, is how does that integrate with an in-house SQL data system?
So, I mean, it'd be one of those cases where, you know, we've got a team of multiple people within the business who would probably look to sit down with you first and understand exactly what you're wanting to get out of it. We've obviously sent people in, and it would likely go ahead of, sort of doing a couple of workshops and finding out exactly what systems you've got and finding out where that source of information is. And then, as mentioned before, Power BI can integrate with almost anything. So in terms of what we would need to do our end, unfortunately, I wouldn't have the knowledge to be able to say that now.